Good morning, Easter Sunday here. Happy Easter to everyone. It's the 4th of April. A nice sunny morning now. It's 10 o'clock, but earlier on I was down in the garden very early. We had a lily white frost. The cars were totally covered and the fields were covered in frost. So I went into the polytunnels to check while the dogs were having a good run around. Inside the polytunnel, outside was 1 degree with a white frost. Inside the polytunnel it was 5 degrees. So polytunnels are usually about 4 degrees warmer than the outside temperature. I also use frost protection netting like a fleece. This goes over all my plants, all the tender plants. Underneath that it's probably another 2 degrees warmer than the polytunnel. So where it was 5 in the polytunnel it would be 7 degrees under the fleece. And I've checked everything, the petunias, and I've got lots of different varieties of basket plants, fuchsias and everything, coleus, stuff like that. And nothing's been harmed under the fleece, so that's okay. Inside the greenhouse, I have automatic heating that comes on in here, but in a cold greenhouse you can reckon it's 2 degrees warmer than your polytunnel as well. So inside a greenhouse, 1 degrees outside would probably give you 6 or 7 degrees inside. So that just gives you an idea of different temperatures and what your polytunnels in glasshouse does. Everything's growing nicely. Strawberries in the polytunnels are growing very well. They're starting to produce little buds for the flowers to come, which will produce fruit. The ones outside in the garden are just starting to produce all their leaf now, and they're looking good. The beds have been cleaned up. I've cleaned the strawberries down and I've put some fertiliser around them, a high potash fertiliser. And the blackcurrants are starting to produce nice leaf. The gooseberries are. The plum tree at the present moment is covered in blossom. It's beautiful. But because of the frost that we've had the last 3 mornings, and we're forecast some -3s ahead over the next 3 days, I can believe that I'll probably lose a fair bit of the blossom, and it'll mean not such a good crop of plums this year. However, the apple trees are just starting to produce bud now, so hopefully the frost will miss those. It'll take 2 or 3 days for them to open. Easter's a traditional time when all the gardeners start sowing seeds and getting into their garden and preparing for the season ahead. Obviously, I grow a lot of early stuff, so my greenhouses are all full. The polytunnels are all full at the moment. But however, I am starting to set some seed this morning, and I've got a few different varieties and a few different ways of setting them. I'll just show you, and then I'll show you around the greenhouse quickly. Right, this is the compost bin. This compost is clover multi-purpose, and it's been put through a quarter riddle. Very fine, as you can see. It's nice compost. I've riddled enough to fill the bin up, and this has been sat in here for a while now. It's been kept dry, but it is a little bit on the dry side, and once it gets dry like that, it takes a little bit time to actually take moisture in. So these are the pans that I filled, half height pots, and anything with a small quantity of seed, such as the cucumbers. I've got Louisia, Cooper, which is a large fruited exhibition variety, Carmen. I will just put these, there's only 5 seeds in each, so I'll set 5 seeds around the side of the pots, and I'll likely cover those with fine grade vermiculite. In here we've got some Mexican tagetoides seeds. I don't know if you can see those, very small ones. They're for my son-in-law's restaurant. He has a Mexican restaurant, and he looks for unusual stuff. Here we've got, whether you can see any seed in there, tiny little bit of seed in the bottom corner. Mixed pepper leaf, Mexican pepper leaf. That'll just go into a pan. This one, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. 25 seeds in there, again, tiny seed, but you can see them. So they'll go into that pan. And in this one, we've got tomatillos, not to get mixed up with tomatoes. The first time I grew tomatillo, I was looking to produce something similar to a tomato plant. It grows totally different, very bushy. Produces lots of fruit which looks like physalis, the Cape gooseberry. They grew very large, and you eat them before they ripen. Basically these are grown for his restaurant as well, and it's to make salsas with. So this is purple tomatillo. So they'll be sown in a 12 cell like that. Everything will be well watered. It'll all be covered with fine grade vermiculite and be well watered. And that's the seed sowing for today. I will follow on with quite a few other things, not necessarily today, but over the next couple of weeks we'll start looking at putting the brassicas in, beans, peas, things like that, as and when I've got space. But if we look down the greenhouse, this is one side, it's still full. Plants are going out very rapidly, but as they go out, I pop more up to try and keep the place full and utilise the space. I hate empty spaces in the greenhouse. We've just been potting the last few leeks up. They're going up in the larger pots. I'll walk you around and let you have a look. Tomatoes are growing away nicely there now. This one is sun gold. Not quite ready, but in a week's time they will be ready. Pot leeks. Right. Last time I showed you about a week ago, I didn't have any collars on the blanch leeks. Underneath here we've got, I'll take one off and show you. These hadn't had any collars on, these are pendle. And you can see underneath I have the pipe lagging. This is 28mm it's put on, and this is 10 inches tall, but in actual fact the leeks were virtually at the top of there and I wasn't going to gain much in length. So I've put some 12-inch black damp course on around them, as we can see, just to try and pull them up that little bit. And I've sent away for some much larger pipe lagging, and these will be covered in the larger pipe lagging. Quite decent plants those. We've got some peppers growing away nicely, a few different varieties. I've got quite a few small ones still to be pricked off. Moving along, we've got sweet aperitif tomato. Again, they're not ready yet, but in a week's time they're going to be fine. GSNs, I've only kept 4 back to go into the garden. I'm putting a trench with 4 of several varieties of leek in. Betty Blacks. These are all in 3-litre pots. This side I've got a few of the exhibition tomatoes, which are coming along very nicely. They're doing fine. We've got some straight Cumbrian behind there. They're looking okay. Again, 3-litre pots. Some of my quality onions. These are looking quite good up on the benches there. They're quite tall. No lights. There's no lights been on now for a long time. There's plenty of sunshine now. Quite happy. That's the new leek. It's GSN Cross 163. I've never grown it before, but a friend brought a little few up to try. They're looking rather nice. These are Peter Kerry's blue. Again, I'm only growing 4 of each. They'll go into a mixed bed. Peter Kerry seedlings behind there. I'm very happy with those. They're all growing away very nicely. They're still in the original pots I got them from Peter, 3-litre pots. Some of my larger onions in the back, I don't know if you can see them. They would be stood well over 4 foot or to keep the foliage upright. It's very difficult. Onions are difficult to handle for exhibition when you get them this big. Along the back row here we've got some blanch leek seedlings. If you remember, I've got some on the end which I haven't potted up yet, but these have been potted up in the last week, and I've put various length of collars on depending on the plant itself, but they're looking very nice. For seed, I'm quite happy. Some Gardener's Delight, they're almost ready to go out now. Virus-free plants, if you remember, sent away for these are from Merry-Stem Cuttings. Virus-free, certified. This is the Cumbrian variety, and they're looking very nice. These are in 5-litre pots, all sat in saucers. I water maybe every other day, just into the saucer. Fill the saucer up with clear water, and they're growing very nicely. They didn't look like Cumbrians initially, but they're all starting to shape up just like Cumbrians now, so they're all nice. Some more, some basil. I've got quite a few varieties of basil to go. These are the blanch leek seedlings. There's still some more here, quite a few around the outside here. These are a little few I put into 2-litre pots early on. They look very strong and healthy. I've just started to put a little few colours on. It's waiting for space to get stuff potted up, but things are starting to move now. Moving around the greenhouse. These are more pendle seedlings. What are they? They're the blue. They'll just go in for stock. Different varieties of basil. We set some seed last week. I've sown some basil in the middle, and it's through already. You can just see it, purple basil coming through. That middle row is purple basil. The outside row was Goldwing, the left hand side was Riesling tomatoes. Maisie tomatoes, well, that is quite amazing. The first 2 packets I sowed, I got terrible results. These haven't been in, well, they've been in exactly a week, and as you can see, I set 2 seeds in in each cell. There was 2 packets, so 10. So it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think would there be 20? Well, I think every one of those would have seed in, so hopefully they'll all come through. So that's showing better signs. Again, virus free. Oh, sorry, there's some earlier tomatoes here. That's the Happy, the Mexican currant tomato. They're looking quite good. I'll have 1 or 2 spare of those. Now I am going to take cuttings off these. These were some Shirley F1s, and as you can see, I've let the side shoots come. They're too tall. I'm not actually worried about these plants. All I wanted them for was cuttings. So I can remove the top growth, take a cutting there, and remove any side shoots and take a cutting there. I'll take one off just to show you. There we have a perfect cutting, and I would cut that down on that particular break just beneath the leaf node, and that will go into compost. They will go limp, they'll droop as if they're dying, but within about 3 days they start to stand up, and about a week's time they would be rooted. I would probably wait maybe 10 days, 14 days to actually pot them up individually. But from 4 plants I have here, I would think I would probably get somewhere in the region of maybe a dozen to 15 cuttings from those, so you can multiply your plant ratio like that. So for all seeds quite expensive, it's not too bad when you start taking cuttings. These are the smaller virus free. Again, they're in 5 litre pots. They're looking quite nice. They're nice and clean. I am keeping on top of the spraying. I come through each day and look for any small fly. There's one here if I can find it. There it is. There it is on the top there. It's dead. So the spray is working. I see dead flies on virtually every day. And again, these are the larger onions on the back. Peter Kerry seedlings. They're looking lovely and clean as well. A few different styles and shapes amongst them, but this is the hybrid which he crossed. It's the GSN and the blue, and he did a 2-way cross because he had 2 heads of each. So he'd done a mother plant GSN, and he also did a mother plant of the blue. I'm sure Peter would be quite willing to talk with you through what he's actually done. Again, that's that new variety, still in the same pot that they come in. They're growing nicely. So everything's growing along nicely. I'm quite happy. I've got a few onions in trays which haven't been pricked out. These aren't exhibition onions. This is Tasco, which is like an 8 ounce. We've got quite a few different types of, that's a cinnamon basil. This is just a straight sweet basil. I've got a few different plants growing away in here. Some more later set F1 Shirley, just at a nice size to pot up. I'll grow those because my wife likes to grow a few. The Berwick leek, into the Berwick. Again, they're only in 2 litre pots, but they're growing very nicely. Moving along, let's have a look. These are the CSC, Cumbrian Sammy Cross. Some people call it the Mackenzie leek. They look nice and clean. They did have a little bit of virus in the early stages, but they're coming away very nicely now, and they're just a nice size. They're not too big. They're only in 3 litre pots. Well, that's it. If I get time later on, there's not much to show at the present moment because I have everything fleeced up. What I will do, as soon as the weather breaks, turn this around a bit. As soon as the weather breaks and I can get the fleece off everything, I'll then take you down into the polytunnels and show you what we're doing down there. I do have a lot of hang baskets to plant up. Unfortunately, at the present moment, all the baskets that I've ordered are sat in the Suez Canal. Unfortunately, that's beyond my control. So we're waiting if baskets being delivered, at which point I'll make some baskets up and we'll maybe do a small plant demonstration as well. That's great now. Have a nice Easter, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.